Let me tell you from experience, hustle alone will never change your life. And skill without character will break you when life starts to get heavy. I've watched a lot of men master a trade, start making real money, only to then start losing themselves when the responsibility shows up. You see, you are probably being told to work harder, to learn more skills, to stack certification on top of certification, to chase the next dollar or the next promotion. But no one is teaching you how to carry responsibility without resentment, resenting your wife, resenting your kids, resenting your parents, or even society. No one is teaching you how to lead when no one is clapping for you. You show up and you feel unappreciative because you just put in a 12-hour work week, a 60-hour week, haven't had a sip of alcohol or watched Netflix, and no one is there saying, hey, Billy, hey, Jose, good job. I get it. And no one is teaching you how to stay disciplined when the results are lagging, when it's taking too long, when the results aren't showing up, when you're still living paycheck to paycheck. And more importantly, how to build something that doesn't collapse when that pressure starts showing up. Because you see, hustle creates the motion, the momentum that you need to start opening up your life. But character is what determines where that momentum goes, where that energy infuses itself. It's your identity. So when the real pressure and the real opportunities show up, you know who you are as an identity and as a man or a woman. Skills will create the income. Those are the things that you need to be able to execute a particular niche. But again, without the character, it won't help you keep that money. Skill creates money. Character determines whether you keep it or not. And here's the part that you probably don't expect. The responsibilities that you prayed for will eventually feel like a weight if they haven't already. That life that you're envisioning, that dream car, that dream house, the dream wife, the kids, all of that, it will get heavy at one point in your life. And it's going to feel like you can never set it down because guess what? When you have a $1 million home mortgage, when you have a huge payroll, when you have customers knocking down your doors demanding that you jump when they say how high, you're going to wish that some days you can put that down. And the reality is that you will not. I get it. I've been there. But with all that being said, there is still a life worth living for, full of joy, full of fun, full of experiences. But there's a difference between how a man can go out and drink 3-4 days with his buddy, get super belligerent drunk, show up hungover the next day, while you have a wife and kids at home and chores and responsibilities, versus scheduling a 2-week getaway with your brothers, going out to the shooting range to get some of that pressure off, or do what I do, work out and exercise 5 times a week. That is what we call freedom coming from discipline. A lot of men think that living a life of constraints, of sacrifice, means that you're giving up a life full of joy and fun and freedom. That's not the case, because you see, when you have a healthy body, when you have a healthy mind, when you have a healthy family and a supportive wife, it opens up the freedom and the space to be able to really enjoy that fruit of that life, especially when life starts to get heavy and the responsibilities start to get heavy. I want to remind you this. Here's the truth. And do you have to remember that you are living in an era where men like you are being called to be responsible and no longer live for yourself. This is a calling from above. You were placed in this particular moment in life, in history, for a very specific purpose. A man of purpose does not live for comfort, and he does not live for happiness alone. We live to shoulder, to burden the responsibility of life, especially in today's day and age where society is lost, broken, separated, and divided. Look around, look at your nieces, your nephews, your brothers, your sisters, your parents. Alcoholism, drug, pornography, suicidal thoughts, depression, anxiety. We are in an era where comfort has become the number one enemy. Think about this for those of you that appreciate theology. Our formal Christian brothers, all the way back to the apostles, they lived in an era where in a split moment they had to decide life or death. They were called to a life of martyrism. They were killed and and we're forced to say my life is being laid down for a brother in a real way. Today, that's not really our cause. We are not being asked to even go to church with any real consequences. Yet I would argue that we are in a more dangerous era than even some of our former older faith ministers were, these apostles, the disciples throughout the history of time. Because in today's era, no one is forcing you to make a decision. With the ability to order Amazon and quick fixes and the dopamine hits, we are in a space in life where men are having to be confined to live a life where you can control those emotions and control those desires. Because if you don't, you are that man where your family and friends and colleagues and societies are looking for direction, for stability, for foundation. This is the difference of a man who is living a life of drift and a man who's being called for responsibility and stewardship. And so, as intentional as that sounds, I want to remind you of this. It was once said that to he who much is given, much will be expected in return. So, with that being said, stand up, brother. You are called for a very particular moment in life, and let this be your awakening call. Strengthen up those shoulders, strengthen those legs, those knees, and those arms, because you're called for something big. And I hope to walk along with you in that path. God bless you, and get after it.